Welcome to World of Africa with me, Erik Njoka. This week we highlight the troubles along the shores of West Africa. Thousands of graves of suspected migrants have been unearthed in Senegal, and there could be more. It's just that the government is silent about it. That's coming up shortly. We begin with a report that is still making headlines. Niger. The country is under a military coup, but this takeover of the government is not new to the landlocked nation. Ever since independence from France in 1960, the military or the presidential guard has been taking power by force. The disruptions began in 1974 and continued until this year. Here's a look back at Niger's history of coups.
These were the glory years for Niger, the country which is boxed in between 7 nations. Niger gained independence in 1960 and Hamani Diori became its first president. Things were smooth for the country. Hamani was loved by his people. He represented the country in various fora and even met the Queen in 1971. But 14 years into his rule, Hamani faced his first challenge. In April 1974, Lieutenant Colonel Seyni Kounché led a military coup suspending the country's constitution. Kounché formed a 12-member Supreme Military Council which took control of government affairs. According to some reports, about 20 people were said to have been killed in the ordeal. Diori was imprisoned from 1974 to 1980 and then held under house arrest until 1987. Seyni died in 1987 and Ali Sebu took charge after Seyni's death and governed till 1992. Mahamane Ousmane of the Social Democratic Convention became president in the country's first multi-party presidential elections in 1993. Ousmane was ousted in 1996 during a military coup led by Colonel Ibrahim Bare Mainasara. After a brief period of military rule, Mainasara was elected president in elections marred by anomalies. Mainasara was killed in April by dissident soldiers in an ambush at Niamey airport, paving the way for a third coup in the country's tumultuous history. Daouda Malam Wanke, the commander of the Presidential Guard, took power before announcing that there will be an elected president and a return to civilian rule by 2000. Mamadou Tanja won Niger's presidential election, defeating Mamadou Issoufou, a former prime minister. International observers called the election that followed the 1999 coup generally free and fair. A group of military leaders calling themselves the Supreme Council for the Restoration of Democracy (CSDR), led by General Salou Djibo, captured Tanya and his ministers after a gun battle in 2010. The constitution was suspended and all state bodies dissolved. Despite the coups, the country was relatively calm, even playing host to thousands of refugees fleeing neighboring countries of Burkina Faso and Mali. The citizens now worry about their economic future and that of the country.
We are particularly concerned about the financial barriers because in our experience, when there is a coup d'état in a country, the financial institutions either refuse to help or they compromise little on the way they help the country financially. So we believe that this could happen to our country. What we want is for the situation to be restored as quickly as possible. That's really our concern.
All externally funded projects will come to a halt. Development projects financed by the EU, World Bank, IMF and others will be halted. Budgetary aid given to Niger will be stopped. I don't know how much it could be, but I'm trying to believe that if we take stock of the situation, we the people of Niger and the leaders can take advantage of this situation and leave with our heads held high.
Et les dirigeants qui sont venus, donc nouvellement arrivés, on peut juguler cette situation et sortir la tête haute.
Niger is in limbo. It is also a setback for the nations in the continent yearning for democracy. Bureau Report, WION World is One.
In the seaside town of St. Louis, Senegal, officials and residents say bodies of migrants from capsized boats attempting the dangerous trip from West Africa to Spain are buried in unmarked beach graves. Most of the families of those buried will never know what happened to their loved ones. Bodies wash ashore or are found by fishermen at sea, then are buried by authorities, and lawyers and human rights experts say it's unclear whether the deaths are documented or investigated as required by Senegalese and international law. Here now is a report.
The small mounds of sand that dot the beach in northern Senegal blend into the terrain. But thick rope juts out from beneath the piles. Pieces of black plastic bags are scattered nearby and green netting is strewn on top. That's how residents in the small fishing town of St. Louis say they know where the bodies lie. The route from West Africa to Spain is one of the world's most dangerous for migrants. Most of them who try to flee from their countries in the region end up stranded in the north. Libya, Tunisia or Algeria, which are considered gateways to Europe from Africa. The number of people leaving from Senegal in small boats swelled over the past year. Like most nations in the region, Senegal releases little information about the crossings, the migrants who attempt the trip, or those who die trying. Through June, Senegal detained 725 migrants. Authorities in St. Louis admitted that sometimes bodies are buried on the beach. They say it happens only when approved by the local prosecutor, and usually the bodies are severely decomposed. For families, the silence is agonizing. Mohammed Niang's 19 and 24-year-old nephews went missing a month ago. He filed a missing persons report but said officials haven't given him any updates.
I've been looking for my nephews for 3 weeks now without any news from them. I heard the government say there are some bodies collected on shore and buried in graves near the beach. That is really awful.
Senegal has long been regarded as a beacon of democratic stability in a region riddled with coups and insecurity. But political tension is mounting in the West African nation. 23 people were killed last month during week-long protests between opposition supporters and police. Some cite the political strife for the increasing migration. Others say people who leave are young Senegalese men who risk their lives driven by poverty and lack of jobs.
In comparison with past years, I really feel there are now more boats departing, especially since the start of Ramadan until now. There is an increase in the number of boats, and there is also an increase in the number of those who are organizing the trips and who are only trying to earn money through this business and make a fortune. There are many people who are discouraged by the kind of life they are living here and who are looking to go to Spain and find work. All of this is shocking.
I lost many people when the boat capsized. I lost my friend Abdul Rahmane. I lost everything. I paid money, the first time 250,000 CFA, approximately $420, and 400,000 CFA, approximately $680 the second time. I lost friends. If I want something from now on, I will work, but not from Spain, because it's hard to get there. The sea is not good. I lost everything. I lost my clothes. If I were to give advice, here it is. If a guy would like to travel to Spain, don't take a pirogue. You have to take a plane.
Senegalese authorities won't give numbers for how many people are unaccounted for trying to cross that stretch of the Atlantic. The beach burials have happened for years but skyrocketed in 2023 with about 300 bodies in the first 7 months compared with just over 100 for all of 2022. Bureau Report, WION, World is One.
Wildfires raging across Algeria have killed over 34 people, including 10 soldiers trying to get the flames under control in the face of high winds and scorching summer temperatures. At least 1,500 people have been evacuated. Neighboring Tunisia also faced the same fate. Here's a report.
These forest rangers are racing against time to douse the blaze that has engulfed Idekar forest in Béjaïa region. The fires broke out in several provinces in Algeria, ripping through forests, olive groves and low-lying shrubland. Over 8,000 firefighters were deployed to bring the flames under control. Massive fires have been raging through mountain forests of the Kablia region on the Mediterranean coast, fanned by winds during blistering summer heat that peaked at 48 degrees Celsius. Much of the southern Europe and northern Africa is witnessing the severe heat wave. It has not only left destruction and havoc in its path, but death too. At least 34 people have been killed. Algeria's President Abdelmadjid Tebboune sent his condolences to the families of those killed. Among them were 10 soldiers trapped by the flames. Locals came to the rescue, offering food aid sent by Algerians from other regions to a warehouse in a town in the province of Béjaïa. Psychiatrists offered support and distributed medical supplies after the wildfires.
We're here today, of course, to provide psychological assistance and follow-up. Many of the people affected by the recent fires are traumatized. There are cases of depression and post-traumatic stress. Our aim is to provide moral support and psychological care. We have come in a convoy carrying psychologists, doctors, nurses, and we are also expecting other colleagues to come.
Tunisia was also in the doldrums. The government said that the wildfires that broke out in the country in recent days are now under control, signaling an end to the immediate danger.
I've never seen such a fire. I've seen dozens of fires, but they were nothing like what happened on the 24th of July. They were not normal at all.
North Africa has been dogged by the same extreme weather, which many scientists say is a result of climate change that has engulfed much of the southern Mediterranean region, forcing the Greek islands of Rhodes, Evia and Corfu to be evacuated. Bureau Report, WION World is One.
Nigeria's digital economy has experienced significant growth in recent years, fueled by increased internet penetration, mobile technology adoption, and the rise of tech startups. The country has a large population of tech-savvy youths who are actively engaging in various digital activities such as e-commerce, mobile payments, and online services. The Nigerian president is seeking to bolster this field after he signed the Data Protection Act. What impact will it have? Our correspondent Louisa Olaniyi reports.
Data misuse has become a global issue. According to a study on the magnitude of cybersecurity concerns in Africa, Nigeria's data breaches have surged by 64% in the first quarter of 2023, with one user account leaked every second. Hackers and malicious actors exploit vulnerabilities in the digital ecosystem to gain unauthorized access to sensitive information. The clamor is growing for the implementation of Nigerian Data Protection Bill, which was signed into law by President Bola Tinubu. The law provides framework for protecting personal information and the practice of data protection in Nigeria.
In terms of our reputation as a country globally, that has increased our reputation that now people are willing to do business with us, that we have a law, we have a data supervisory authority, and it also attracts foreign direct investment in the country, because a lot of countries now, they are not willing to do business with you. You do have your data protection law and your data protection authority. These are things that will definitely benefit. It has also led to job creation, as I mentioned. The law says all data protection of major importance must have their in-house data protection officers. Now that is creating a lot of, and we have identified about 500,000 jobs that will come out from this sector. And creating jobs, we are also creating wealth.
Our first visit, as soon as we were established as the Nigerian Data Protection Bureau, was actually to the National Identity Management Commission, and they were, they accepted us graciously, and they listened to us, and we explained to them the importance of these things. And we've been working with them. I mean, we're under the same ministry, so we've been working with them very closely in terms of things like this, and in terms of future projects that they might have in terms of collating data.
Experts feel an immediate rapid-fire implementation process must begin with nationwide awareness of the data rights that the Commission was established to protect.
Within the ECOWAS, for instance, we have the ECOWAS Supplementary Act on Personal Data Protection. Nigeria signed this in 2010. And that also shows you that Africa, ECOWAS, other countries within this issue, we are forward-looking in terms of data protection.
Analysts say there are too many examples of violations in terms of data handling, and the list of perpetrators includes airlines, banks, digital loan apps, hospitals, telecommunications companies, and the government. Just recently, finance experts and bank depositors challenged the decision by the Central Bank of Nigeria. to include social media handles of customers on the list of mandatory Know Your Customer requirements.
In this digital era, data is a valuable asset and its protection is a shared responsibility. We must remain vigilant, demand accountability, and work together to strengthen data privacy across Africa, understanding the reality that a breach in data privacy affects not just one person, but the entire communities and nations. From Lagos, Nigeria, Louisa Olani, WION, World is One.
Tuaregs in Algeria are hoping to draw tourists back to the region by putting their traditional dances, music, poetry and camel races on display. The festival is geared towards conserving traditions and encouraging its transmission to young ones in order to assure its existence from generation to generation.
These performers are gearing up for a festival in the desert oasis. The Tuareg are semi-nomadic people of Berber descent who practice Islam and whose traditional desert homeland stretches across parts of Algeria, Libya, Niger, Mali and Burkina Faso. At the break of dawn, thousands of Tuareg dressed in a riot of color, music and dance flock to the Sabeba festival that marks the end of an ancient tribal feud and which once a year transforms an oasis town deep in the Algerian Sahara.
This square which hosts the festival has existed since the days of our ancestors, and the rehearsals for the Sabeba take place here from the first night of Ashura, the Muslim religious event, to the 9th night. During these rehearsals, children learn to dance and everyone has the right to let off steam.
The annual Sabeba festival, held in Janet, 1500 kilometers southeast of Algiers, dates back over 3,000 years and is held to coincide with the Shiite Muslim Ashura commemoration. During the 10-day event, male dancers dressed as warriors, wielding swords, perform to the singing and drumbeat of women, who are adorned with glittering jewelry and henna tattoos. The men parade with their weapons and then stand in a ritual circle, rattling their swords continuously, as the women sing traditional songs to the rhythm of the tambourine.
Supposed to represent the beauty of women, and as far as this outfit is concerned, it is not possible for us to put it on ourselves. We would need a woman who is old and who knows the traditions.
The festival marks the time, 3 millennia ago, when two Tuareg tribes, El Mihane and Zulus, put an end to a war between them. Legend has it that their conflict ended when both sides learned of the death of the Egyptian pharaoh, who, as in the biblical story, perished in the Red Sea while pursuing Moses and the fleeing Israelites.
According to our ancestors, the Sabeba festival dates back to the time when Moses and Pharaoh were in Egypt. Our ancestors kept the date of the day the Pharaoh drowned in the sea and celebrated the death of the Pharaoh.
UNESCO in 2014 added the Sabeba ritual and ceremonies to its list of the intangible cultural heritage of humanity. It also noted the role of local craftspeople who make the uniforms, weapons, jewelry and musical instruments for the ceremonies. Bureau Report, WION World is One.
The 9th Games of Francophone, a meeting place for some 3,000 young athletes and artists from around 30 countries, opened in Kinshasa, a real challenge for a state deemed chaotic. Awarded in 2019 to the DRC, these games should have taken place in 2021, 4 years after those of Abidjan. But they were postponed because of the COVID-19 pandemic. Then again in 2022 because nothing was ready. But now everything is ready. Here's a report.
We have really been looking forward to this unique event. The pandemic frustrated us a little bit and caused many delays, but we are finally here.
Nous y sommes.
There are 54 nations in one big continent called Africa, each of them with their unique history, culture and story. This is a call to you, the viewer. Do you have an idea that you would like us to tell through a story on the show? If you do, then reach out to us. Tweet with the hashtag Wild of Africa and tell us the story and the country that you're watching us from. You never know, it might just feature on the program. Thank you for watching. I'm Erik Njoka. See you on the next episode.